What's up, people? It's another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best new metal adjacent, quasi, what have you. Podcast from two dudes who are really there. I'm one half of your host and duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious Tim Master Jr. Tim, how's it going?
Oh, awesome.
It is
Great.
going awesome.
We're both old and feeling like shit.
And this is yeah, I mean, and then we have hell to look forward to. So anyway, what are we talking about this week? Everybody, this week Tim and I are going to do a deep dive. We took this one a little bit differently. We tried to, instead of just diving into Wikipedia, we tried to actually go in there. So we did a little bit more homework, a little bit more effort into this one. Hopefully this ends well. You the fans, got to tell us, let us know. But what album are we doing? So we are doing an album that's both near and dear to Tim and I's heart. Killswitch Engage's 2002 masterpiece, their major label debut, Alive or Just Breathing. So this is their major label debut, but not their debut album. Their first album was self-titled. It was on Ferret. Do you remember that, Tim?
Yeah, I love it.
I think there's some great Vita Infra, and there were a couple other songs where I actually prefer that version. There's just a little bit of tonal difference that I don't know. Adam D is a genius at what he does, but I liked it a little bit better.
Yeah, I think what you like better about it is it's a little bit more raw in a sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The songs that they redid on there don't really capture that raw energy, but that record still sounds great.
Oh yeah. It's a great album. Don't get me wrong. And this album is truly, I truly believe this is a masterpiece. This was one of those bands where when I found out that Jesse left, I was crushed because I'm like, well, I'm never
Yeah.
going to see them with him singing. But regardless, the first album is great. Let's dive in. Let's start with setting the table about what the heavy music world looked like in, what was this, 2002. So that's when this came out, May 2002. So this is where new metal has reached its high point, right? We are now getting the second and third gen new metal bands, which is in an influence of an influence of an influence. So it started becoming too distilled,
Yeah.
watered down. The Now, granted, bands like Korn, bands like Slipknot, bands like Limp Bizkit, culminate. I mean, they Linkin Park, right? They rode this new metal trend to somewhere unbelievable, right? Like I think was a Hybrid Theory came out in 2001 and that went diamond. So obviously there was still a feeling in the cultural zeitgeist about new metal, but it was kind of going and it started to tail off. And when I was doing this homework, I actually thought to myself, I think Slipknot kind of killed it off in the sense of they were new metal, but they were so heavy and so unique. How are you going to outdo a band of 9 dudes from Iowa that are just playing this almost grindcore influenced, abrasive metal masquerading as new metal? You can't top that,
No,
right?
you're not putting out anything as heavy as Iowa at that time right there.
No, well, you're not putting out heavy. Your aesthetic, honestly, your aesthetic can't compete, Tim.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like I mean, I love bands like Orgy, and I love bands like Head PE and all some of those contemporaries, but you can't compete with, again, 9 dudes in masks in prison jumpsuits banging on a keg with a baseball bat.
And not at that time period either, because that
Right.
shit wasn't really, I mean, obviously you had bands that dressed up and stuff like Mushroom Head was doing it back then, but like you didn't have many bands that were in the forefront of mainstream that were doing that. Like
Right.
nowadays you got like what, Sleep Token,
Sleep Token.
still have
Um
Slipknot, still have Mushroom Head.
mhm,
Like there's a new band called President. I don't know if you heard of them.
mm-mm.
Like a Sleep Token ripoff, but it's actually pretty good. You have to check that out. That
Oh my
EP.
God, we're gonna get third wave Sleep Token. What is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
gonna
it's
sound like?
it's actually not bad, but like nowadays it doesn't surprise anyone when you see that. But in 1999, when people come out on stage looking like that, you're like, wait a minute, what is this?
Right. Dude, the video of their first Ozfest show is on YouTube, and I watch it all the time because I couldn't imagine being in the stands. I mean, the first time I heard Sick on WSOU, I literally, this is how old I am. I was going to the restaurant that I used to work at. I walked in and got on the payphone and I called WSOU and I said, "Hey, who was that you guys just played?" The first time I saw them live, it was an experience. God, it was an
Oh
experience.
yeah,
So yeah, it's they set the tone that was so heavy and so abrasive and so loud and so unique that nobody, I mean, you either aped it or you fell behind it. And I just think they were on a trajectory that the kind of things started to fall apart, right? So commercially, nu metal is the big thing on the block. Ozfest is going strong. It is the thing that everybody's looking for. However, nu metal did turn off a lot of listeners, a lot of music fans, and musicians alike. We can't lie about that. It was, the traditional teenager suburban angst, right, which is the knock against a lot of early nu metal. I get it. I get it. There was always questions around the perceived authenticity of these bands that are, my dad hates me, I hate you, dad, I hate you, dad. I get it, get it. And then there was the we were just talking about Slipknot. There was a little bit of a stylistic gimmick with some of these bands, right? I mean, no shame, not throwing shade, but there was a little bit of an aesthetic gimmick to try and differentiate you from other bands. Some bands, Slipknot, Mudvayne, it worked. Mushroomhead, it worked. Other bands where it was like, yeah, they're all wearing white shirts. Okay, okay. And then there was the totally bananas Ace Ventura metal of System of a Down. So you're looking at nu metal is at its peak, but it's starting to decline. Right by the mid 2000s, it's all but dead. 2000, we've talked about this. 2004 is the death knell for nu metal. But you had the market was oversaturated. Third wave bands. You had releases that were not performing the way when the peak was, and then there was always the question of technical legitimacy, right? I mean, a lot of these bands, nobody's ever accused a beatdown band of being technically proficient, right? What would that sound like? Be gross like Meshuggah and 100 Demons. Where does that put you?
It's like deathcore with some fretboard gymnastics.
Yeah, I guess. But at this point, like nu metal was not known as a technical genre. Yeah, they invented themselves and did some really neat stuff. Limp Bizkit introduced the turntable, and The Urge introduced ska, and Snot played with funk, and Ultra Spank had electronics, and Slipknot did their thing, and all that. And Korn was playing drop tune seven strings. Right, I get it. Uh, but there was always the question of technical proficiency, and these weren't really musicians in the way of traditional music fans were expecting. So there was a little bit of friction there, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So you have got this trend that's coming over the hill, right? And it's starting to peak. It's peaked and it's on its way down. I don't think anybody realizes it. But now we're starting to create a vacuum because we talked about when we did our yearly show, when we did, what was it, 95 and 96 we've done so far, or 94 and 95, 94 and 95.
Yeah.
At this point, you're starting to create space for something new to come in because nu metal is already peaked and the next big thing is out there, but nobody really sees it. And this is where we enter the new wave of American heavy metal. So this term, based upon my digging, supposedly was created by Mark Hunter from Chimera, but it was I would argue that it's an umbrella term, and that umbrella term tried to wrap its arms around all things groove industrial metalcore. Is that a fair statement, Tim? Would you agree?
Yeah, and I kind of think I kind of think too, if you think like of a new metal band, like Spine Shank kind of did that as well.
Yeah.
Because yeah, obviously Spine Shank was they got lumped in the new metal and I would consider them a new metal band, but when you listen to like some of their stuff, especially the later like not
Yep.
later, but the second, third stuff, like you definitely had the Fear Factory influence in there. You definitely had the Moshi parts in there. So yeah, I would consider them a part of that.
Agreed. Agreed. And so with this pivot, with this culture coming along of the new wave of American heavy metal, you're reintroducing the idea of a little bit more brutal sound of music, and I mean that in the aggressive, um, in your face type way. Slipknot again set the tone for nu metal. They basically caused it to hit its apotheosis, the high water mark. And you had stuff like Down the Sun, and you had stuff like American Head Charge, which were coming in right behind them. But I think at that point it was just a little too late. Right, Slipknot took the title and things went along. But this also the rise of this American heavy metal introduced the idea of technical proficiency, but also the heaviness and the brutality. It brought that back to the fore. Things that were lost in I think lost in terms of tone or in terms of aesthetic, where we went back to the actual musicianship, right? I mean, a lot of these bands that you would lump into this, we're going to go back to At the Gates, right? It's
Yeah.
got the actual there's some European metal style riffing, right? The Swedish melodic death metal. There's some of that riffing here. Some of the vocals are a little bit more abrasive, not as sing-songy as some of the stuff coming out of nu metal. So, I mean, how can we? So let's put it this way: how can we talk about the new wave of American heavy metal and Killswitch Engage by extension without talking about honestly? I think the group, and we can probably call the people that were able to make it the thing it is, and it's Roadrunner Records. So at this point, Roadrunner is established. They were everything, all things nu metal. This was early Fear Factory. This was Machine Head. This was Hole Chamber. This was Spineshank. Yes, Roadrunner band. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. This is Spineshank. This is other stuff. Oh, along the sides, you had Life of Agony, you had Carmen of Burn, you had a lot of that stuff. So they're running the nu metal shop, right? 5.0. Dry Kill Logic, still a
Yep.
great album. Still a great album. Uh, that stuff is still Chimera. First Chimera album is
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner.
Yep.
So Roadrunner is very, very, very established in this genre, and then they start moving and going the other direction, right? Like they also did Slipknot, right? So they basically published the band that rose to the top of the nu metal pile, planted the flag, and said, "Yeah, it's not getting better than this." But smartly, and I would love to get like Monty Connor on here, right? Or like what's his name, Mike Gitter, and pick their brains about what was going on behind the scenes, because I don't know if it was intentional or if it was, hey, this stuff seems to be bubbling, let's get on it. The Killswitch Engage was a huge signing for them. Again, they did their first full length on Ferret. And,
Parrot.
and
Yep.
and at this point, Ferret and Trustkill are coming into their own as dueling hardcore releases. Like those, I actually think the intentional competition between Ferret and Trustkill, rising tide, right? Forced both labels to up their game, and that's where we've got bands like 18 Visions and Every Time I Die, whatever. But I think that them signing Killswitch and then putting the gas behind it, right? Pushing that to the front. This is a shift. This represents a big shift where we're going from nu metal to this what you could consider melodic metalcore.
100%.
And I think that this album is probably the standard bearer for that sound because it was expertly, we're going to get into it. It's expertly produced. It sounds fantastic. It's great to listen to. And it almost is the opening bell. Like you've seen people ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. I would argue that this is the opening bell for the metalcore movement to come into its own. And along with, hey, thank you, nu metal, but we're going the other way.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely bands that did it before it became mainstream, and there's always a band we come back to. It's Seven Angels, Seven Plagues.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, Jasmine's Lullaby is probably, if we're talking about melodic metalcore, I would say that's a top five record in that genre.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
unbeatable for
And
the
it's
time period.
influential and forgotten. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's a fucking great point. Influential, but forgotten.
So the fans know it, right? The fans get it. The people who are into this type of music, we know Seven Angels, Seven Plagues. We know what bands they became, right? Like the one guy went on to play for Bury Your Dead. The Misery Signals, right, came out of that, but mainstream never looked at it. Never looked at it.
Which is crazy because I think if people heard, like, if kids these days heard that record, I think that they would fucking go crazy on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the big things about that record is it's not overproduced and it sounds very, we'll go back to the word raw. It's very raw.
Yes.
And it's one of them records that you listen to and it makes you feel a certain way. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. The interlude and then the piano intro in that one song
yeah.
is unbelievable. So putting the Seven Angels, Seven Plagues on a tier, that's one of the reunions we're all still waiting for. So Killswitch Engage from Westfield, Massachusetts, formed in '99. What we need to do is take a moment to appreciate the bands coming out of that area of the country right then. Right? You have Shadows Fall.
Yep.
You have Killswitch Engage. You have Unearth.
Yep.
You have All That Remains.
Yep.
And Phil Labonte was the original vocalist for
Shadows
Fall because Brian Fair was the original vocalist for Overcast with Mike D'Antoni from Killswitch.
Yep.
Overcast ends and everybody kind of shifts around. And there was a huge amount of that geographically, not from Massachusetts or New England, but God forbid,
Yep.
right? Is that Ohio with Chimera?
Hmm.
All these bands were falling in that same vein, that same sound. But yeah, a ton of shit came out of Massachusetts and New England, which is really kind of wild. But I also think that helps breed them to up their game, right? Because if you and I are on a jabroni band, right, and we go out and we're in the same scene and playing the same shows as Killswitch, and we see they're killing it, we're going back and we got to up our game. And then we up our game, and then Shadows Falls comes and sees us and says, "Oh, the jabroni band is killing it. We got to up our game." So there's that again, that unintentional competition we just talked about with Ferret and Trustkill. I think that whole rising tide raises all ships mentality. It comes down to people having to up their game because I gotta follow that.
Yeah, and you know what? I think a lot of people too, they when they think about going back to new metal, they're like, "Oh God, it was like amazing to live in that era." I think you get an even more special era with the new wave of American heavy metal. There's just something about that scene and that time period that's just fucking special. Like there's so many good records that came out one after the other. Like if I think if you
Mm-hmm.
like think if you look in like 2001, 2002, 3, there's just killer release after killer release. I mean, sometimes you'd be 3 a month and you're like, "Holy shit, man." Like,
I I also think I also think the prevalence of this sound, this
yeah.
technically proficient metalcore sound, allowed the Swedish stuff to come back, right? So remember, At the Gates is one of those bands, they release Slaughter of the Soul, and everybody forgets about them, and they break up, and that's that. But then you have all these bands that steal that sweet mulatto mellow death, right? The Swedish riffing. You have your As I Lay Dyings. You have In Flames doing Reverb to Remain. You have Soil Work with Figure Number Five, right? A lot of these bands, a lot of that Swedish stuff actually ended up touring with some of these bands because
Yeah.
they were influence cousins, kissing cousins influentially in the sense of they're coming from the same background. Um, I I just think that allowed that both those things to take on. And then you end up with Darkest Hour, where
Was literally just gonna say that. Yep.
unbelievable. So Killswitch, they released a self title on Ferret in 2000. The original, I found a quote. It was called a patchwork of extremely extreme metal and VFW hardcore, which is fair because these guys were road dogs, right? They toured everywhere, they played everywhere. And, we've talked about this. Shout out to 200 Stab Wounds, shout out to No Cure, shout out to Frozen Soul, shout out to these bands that just, Undeath, they just stay on the road. They just keep, Orthodox is becoming road dogs, whether they admit it or not. They keep going out, keep going out. That's how you build them. That's how you, boundaries, right? Keep going out. That's how you build a following. So,
It's funny you say that about Orthodox because that's one of them bands that we've seen in real time since we know Adam and stuff. Like we've seen in real time them get bigger. Like it's like obviously, yeah, in your lifetime you see bands get bigger and their trajectory gets bigger and all that, but like it's cool to actually personally know a band and see how
yeah,
where they came from and where they are now. Like I think
right.
about them all the time. I'm like, dude, that's fucking crazy and it's fucking sick. Like shout out to them dudes for that. Like,
No, I mean, I saw them for the first time with Left Behind at the Fire in Philly. There were
yeah.
like 20 people there.
And what was that like fucking 10 years ago?
Yeah, and then now they've done Australia, they've done Furnace Fest twice. They played Christmas Burns Red. They're going out in support for Dying Wish, and I guarantee that lineup. I might Tim, I might have to call you and be like, "Yo, meet me at the TLA. We might have to go to this." But it's it's Bolt Cutter and Orthodox as the two openers, and then it's like Static Dress and Gouge Away and Dying Wish. Like, I, it's a war crime having them go on that early because good luck following that. Speaking of which, wildly off topic, Dan and I were just talking about FYA coming up because we got our Airbnb and our airfare and all that. Pity the band that has to go on after Haywire,
Oh yeah, good luck.
and you know who it is?
Who is it?
Gorilla Biscuits.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah,
all
good
the old people. Good luck, and then
and
it's Hatebreed.
metalcore.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I said I made a joke to the guys. I'm like, yo, can we go get dinner at the Waffle House while Gorilla Biscuits is playing? But anyway, I'm enough of my hate on Gorilla Biscuits. So we're back to 2000. Killswitch does the self-titled. The album's really good. Everybody should go check it out. They signed to Roadrunner after being these road dogs. Now they're just like, fuck it, we're going in. We're going in and we're going to do it. So, and at this point, so there's some lineup changes, right? The original guitarist, I think, left. Didn't he? I took a note here. They recorded from October of '01 to February of '02. So what is that? 4 months?
Yeah.
5 months. Five
Fine.
months.
Yeah.
Um, Adam D was originally the drummer.
Drummer. Yep.
He also was he produced, he engineered, he did drums, guitar, and piano, and backing vocals. So this is basically the Adam D show. God bless the band is lucky that he was that talented. I mean, later stuff they've started to pull in more influence, but
Well,
God
he
bless him.
did that on an Aftershock too, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
And
people listening right now, turn this off and go listen to Aftershock. God damn, that band's so good. Adam D's in there. I think Adam D played drums in Aftershock. His
yes,
brother was in the band. I just forget what his brother did. I think Mike was in Aftershock as well. What's that record called? Through the Looking Glass. Put it on.
Mhm.
It's a 10 out of 10. Anyway,
But again,
back to Switch.
he's multi instrumentalist, very talented. And Pete Cortez was the guy's name. He was the guitarist that quit when they went into the studio. Uh,
Imagine that dude right now thinking to himself, what
I
can
mean,
he do?
think about the fifth Beatle. Think about Ron McGovney from Metallica, right? Like, I mean, what the guy who quit Loathe right before they blew up in the States.
Mm.
Um, those are the guys we should get on the show and ask, like, yo, do you ever look back and go, fuck?
Hey, by the way, idiot.
Yeah, good for you. Good, no hate. Which I gotta say is one of the cool things. I've been out to Christmas Burns Red 2 or 3 times now, which is the August Burns Red Christmas show. I'll be going again this year with my buddy Troy. Funnily enough, it's the only time of year I see him. And they bring out their old singer. They've had old guitarists come on and play with them, which I think is really cool. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, you were part of the band. Why don't you come out and do some shit, right? Like, and Bury Your Dead did the same thing when they played the Furnace Fest show. They had
That was, that
Joe
set was
Kruko and
good.
Mike Terry come out. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good set. I watched the
that's
whole thing.
that's awesome. So yeah, so these guys they're recording guitar sleeves. Adam D now is the multi instrumentalist. He truly is the maestro behind this thing, and it they basically defined the sound for metalcore for the next 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think that sound is still kind of going, but I think metalcore is so predictable right now that it's just like I can hardly listen to a lot of it.
There's been so much. Well, here's the thing. I actually think it's kind of hard to define what is metalcore these days. So Tim, let's start it this way. We're not looking at legacy bands. Give me a band that's come out first album, second album in the last 5 years that you could say is the center point for metalcore.
Dying Wish. That new Dying Wish is metalcore from,
So,
the heyday of it.
okay. Okay, so that now becomes north on the compass. Now you have stuff that's a little bit off to the sides. What's the band that you suggested? I just listened to it the other day. It was really good. Um, chick singer from Australia. What was the name of that?
Rally.
It began with a V. It's not Vicious Embrace. What is it?
Oh, the
Uh,
one we did a video.
Reaction vid on. Yes, it
Oh,
is
Volatile Ways.
Volatile Ways. That I could argue is metalcore, but it also's got the gent sound, some of the genty parts that even Sleep Token steals. So I think it's harder to define just what straight metalcore is these days.
Did you listen to that?
Yeah, I liked it. I
Oh,
liked it.
yeah.
But also I think I don't know if I would that's way to the right of metalcore. Be in the of what our North Star is, and here's why. That is that slower, stompy black tongue sort of stuff, right? Whereas I think I'm gonna steal something from Jamie Josta and nobody, we're not giving you royalties. Just we'll buy a box of Josta pasta. If Dying Wish is in the middle, you have heavy on one side and hard on the other.
Yeah, yeah.
And Volatile Ways is Josta pasta is
I did that.
heavy, is heavy. Hard would be the stuff which is like no cure-ish, type of a little bit, simpler or less, that sort of thing. But anyway, so they bang out this album in 4 months. The guitarist leaves. Adam D is the maestro running around putting all these things together. And I think the first thing that I noticed on this album is the vocals.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not only are they up in the mix, Jesse can sing.
Oh yeah.
He can act like he can really, really sing.
What was he in before Killswitch? Was it Corinne?
I think so.
I think it was Corinne.
Pull that up, Jamie.
And then he did, and then in between Killswitch, he did another band, which is that EP is so good.
Yes, it was Corinne. That he did his second band was Nothing Stays Gold.
Yeah, and then there's one
Um,
more,
and then
Seamless, and then he did. Oh, if you say it, that EP is so good. Oh man,
hold on. He also did The Empire Shall Fall.
that first EP is incredible.
Times of Grace.
Times of Grace is with Adam D.
Yes,
I think that might be it. You might like Seamless too. That's like some good rock.
I vaguely remember hearing that.
Yeah,
Uh,
Empire Shall Fall is incredible. Incredible EP. I
okay,
You like Killswitch, you'll love that. That shit's incredible.
so
The
he,
dude's
I mean, the
got a
guy knows his
fucking
stuff.
voice. He's
He
got a
knows his
great
stuff.
voice.
But I love the the song I think of when I think of Killswitch Engage. The first thing I hear in my head is the soaring chorus in My Last Serenade.
Oh yeah.
Like that was those first four tracks on that album were just, and I'm actually gonna look it up so I don't get punished in the comments. The first four songs are Number Days, which which Adam D wrote and recorded the entire thing himself in the studio, aside from the vocals. Self Revolution, Fixation on the Darkness, My Last Serenade. Those four, right? And then Life to Lifeless, another live staple. I to me, one of my favorite songs of the album is Temple from the Within.
Oh yeah.
And that's the song they opened WSOU's 15th birthday bash with. I was in line coming in. I'm like, who is this? This is really good. This is real. To think they opened that show, which is bananas in its own right. So you've got the vocal dynamics, right? These soaring vocals that Jesse's coming out with. This is, nu metal was not known for being melodic, right? It was not known for melody. It was the contrast, loud, soft, fast, slow, heavy, heavy, light. This is where melody comes back in, where you actually have people singing again, which is a big um it's a big change to hear these big vocals, and then you basically have a breakdown playing under it, basically.
Yep.
So that weird contrast, the juxtaposition, right? Again, My Last Serenade is probably the best example, but that now we're going back to nu metal was screamed chorus, or screamed verse, sung chorus. This is back to screamed verse. No, I think I fucked that one up. Yeah, I have it backwards. But they were the new wave of American heavy metal was ones they were taking, and they actually leaned into guys that actually sing. Brian Fair can sing, right? Go listen to Crushing Belial and tell me his voice isn't totally unique.
Yeah, he definitely had a unique voice. Even in like the new stuff they put out, he still has that. What is that,
Oh
20
yeah,
later?
yeah. I will say this though, and no offense to Doc Coyle, God forbid lost me when they introduced the clean vocals on.
Nah, you're 100% wrong.
I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill. Determination was a monster. They didn't need to add cleans. They could have just kept going and been heavy. So, well, back to Alive and Just Breathing, right? So we've now got actual clean singing is back in the mix, soaring singing. We've got almost like thrash ability in the sense of the technical prowess of the guitarists and the bands playing. Look at Unearth, right? You look at Shadows Fall. You look at All That Remains. You look at all the bands coming out of this Chimera. Lamb of God gets lumped in. Right? I would argue they're new wave of American heavy metal. God forbid. These are bands that are technically proficient, and they're bringing back the artistry of playing the instruments. No offense to Slipknot and Korn and all those bands, but it's these bands placed a higher emphasis on the technical ability.
I agree.
And then we end up with Dave Davidson, who I could watch him play Mary Had a Little Lamb on a guitar for fucking 10 hours and I would never get bored because that guy blows my mind. So there was a quote I found here, and I think I actually wrote down where it came from. Um, it was a review, a post review in the website Louder, talking about um talking about this album. And one of the quotes was, where is it? Killswitch Engage helped save metal from itself. And the argument was Killswitch prioritized um, composition, uh, metal aesthetics, technicality over style. Excuse me, style aesthetic gimmicks. I think it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
Um, so with new, so let's talk about we're going into the whole new wave of American heavy metal is killing off new metal as we know it. When you compare new metal versus let's just say melodic metalcore, right? When you compare that to melodic metalcore, what are the differences? So new metal's influences are rap, it's funk, it's groove, it's grunge, even melodic metalcore. This is at the gates, American hardcore, right? VFW core, right? Thrash metal. The vocals in new metal are usually typically rapping and or syncopated. There's rhythm to it, where melodic metalcore has these layered like screaming, growling, along with singing. It's atmospheric, if you will. The guitar, again, new metal was the big emphasis was seven strings, detuned, uh, very, very heavy on the groove side of the pendulum.
Hate your father.
Whereas, yeah, yeah, I hate my dad. I hate my dad. Come on, dad, I want a slice of pizza. Whereas, well, it's funny, we make fun of new metal and we both love it to death. Melodic metalcore, there was way more emphasis on precision, technical precision. You're back to two guitars in a band by standard. A lot of harmony and staccato rhythms, which is, I would argue, stolen from Swedish death metal. And thematically, new metal is about angst, anger, cynical suburban existence, where melodic metalcore was a lot about, I would say it was more positive.
Yeah.
There's some
Finding yourself.
yeah, and it was very much empowering. There was some emotion. I mean, new metal had some emotional honesty. Like again, Jonathan Davis crying at the end of the first album. That was him going through some shit. But whereas that felt as that's a song that was added on to lend gravitas to the album. That emotional honesty, I think, would arguably show up in almost every band with melodic metalcore, where they were being sincere in what they were playing.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go into Jesse's lyrics, but again, it was positive, it was uplifting, it was a step in a different direction as opposed to I Hate You Dad. So one thing, Tim, let's talk about in 2002, who is Killswitch competing against? Right. So Alive or Just Breathing comes out. What are some of the other bands releasing big albums at the time? What are the other aesthetics that are smashing into this? And where's the world going? So 3 weeks after Alive or Just Breathing comes out, Korn releases Untouchables.
Mm.
So this debuts at number 2 on the Billboard 200. So sells 500,000 copies per week. Achieves platinum. So it proves that Korn still got it. Like they still have it, but they're not on their heels, but there's somebody on their heels. They're not fighting from their heels. They're not backing up, but there's somebody coming up right behind them. Another album that,
You really can think that that corn record would be a competition for them, though?
well, no, but it's the other big things going on in the scene at the time. So
Oh,
remember,
yeah, yeah. Okay,
at this
okay,
point,
okay.
Korn is established, right? This is their fourth album, fifth album, right? They've already been out. They've got it. They've got recognition. But this is new metal's top act, still selling, but I think the cracks are starting to show. So I'm trying to get to because you have
Okay,
stuff now
okay.
in their bands in their rear view. Art of Balance comes out in September of 2002, right? So this is Killswitch's neighbors, for lack of a better term, right? Shadows Fall. A lot more thrashy, but it also shows that this sound is coming around.
Yeah.
We're going back to technicality. We're going back to more traditional thrashy metal as opposed to the dirge and the angst. And uh, so in May of 2003, so we've even gone forward a little bit further past this release. This is slightly later than Alive or Just Breathing. As the Houses Burn comes out by Lamb of God. I actually think this was their best album. This is so I think I've told this story. I pre-ordered this album from the band directly on their website. And I got it the Sunday before it came, so the Friday before it came out, came in the mail.
It
And
used to come out on Tuesday. Yeah.
yeah, they used to come out on Tuesdays. I got it on Friday. and my roommate was away that weekend. And I had just got a PlayStation 2 Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So and my I think I dumped both my girlfriends at the time. That's a story from the time. And I had the apartment to myself because my roommate was away at a wedding. And I literally spent an entire Saturday listening to As the Palaces Burn on repeat and playing Vice City. And then when I got in the car to drive to Wawa to get dinner, I was doing like 80 miles an hour in a 20 and swerving into oncoming traffic. I'm like, whoa, video game brain. But this album, right? So Devin Townsend produces it. This establishes Lamb of God as a force, but it was so heavy and heavy with a commercial appeal.
Yeah, I mean, because the first one was definitely not mainstream.
Not no commercial. I mean, Vans used the one song in a commercial, but it was not commercially viable. And I would argue the one after this, which is what after As the Palaces Burn, is Ashes of the Wake.
Yeah.
That's them getting even more commercial. And then with Sacramento, they finally hit. This is a motherfucking invitation. Terrible, terrible lyrics. But with Sacrament and Redneck, they're big time, big time. So the album comes out, right? Everybody loves it. Near universal commercial acclaim. Some of the quotes I found: landmark album, masterpiece, undeniably classic. The singles, Fixation on Darkness, My Last Serenade. I mean, these are live staples, but also one of the two of the better songs of the album. Let's see. Alive or Just Breathing peaks at number 37 on the Billboard Heat Seekers, which is pretty good. Uh, the next one, 2004's End of Heartache, peaks higher on Billboard 200 and goes gold. But the fact that the first album, Alive or Just Breathing, does so well on Heatseeker shows that there was appetite for this music. They had established a fan base. Again, this is back to them being a road dog. I think that this is them starting to they've this album signifies the tipping point, right? Where the industry is now looking at it saying, yeah, this is a valid genre and we really gotta lay into it. And maybe nu metal has reached its peak. It would behoove us to look in different directions.
Yeah, because
So
I think after that, you would have As I Lay Dying be the biggest metalcore band.
yes,
I
yes,
kind of, I kind of think they were the biggest. I kind of think at a time they were bigger than Killswitch, honestly.
yes. Was it 94 hours? What was that? I can picture the album cover.
I forget what that album's called.
It is called. I refuse to say his last name correctly. It's Tim Lambesis. Um, even though it's Lambesis. Frail Words Collapse.
There you go.
That's the album. And what was the single that was on there?
94 hours.
94 hours. Um,
I think the
that's
record after that was bigger, though. I think that's what put them on the map.
yes, the album so that sold 250,000. Shadows, yeah, Shadows of Security was huge. It debuted at number 35 on the Billboard 200.
Damn.
That's wild.
How many did that sell, does it say?
Let's see here. Charts. Uh,
We have to pause for a second.
so we're back. We're still talking about Alive and Just Breathing. So now let's talk about this is where things start getting goofy. And not getting goofy. This is a major disruption. Um, right after the album's release, halfway through their first ever national tour, Jesse Leach quits, sends an email to Mike D'Antonio and says, I'm done. I'm done. I mentally, I'm not ready. My voice is kind of giving out on me. I miss my family. I want to go home. So that might kill many bands. The lead singer leaving halfway through on the tour. But instead, these guys, I don't know how they pulled this off. They recruit Howard Jones, Blood Has Been Shed. And Howard nails it. He nails it. I mean, I am a bigger fan of the Jesse Leach catalog than the Howard catalog. I am not shitting on the End of Heartache, Rose of Sharon. Howard can sing just as well as Jesse. To me, it's just a stylistic preference. I just prefer
Yeah,
Jesse. But the dude can sing. Again, Blood Has Been Shed, another reunion we're waiting on, right? Another reunion.
never
But
happened.
you don't think so?
Yeah.
I guess because you think there's no interest.
I don't think he has an interest in it. I don't think the band has an interest in it, honestly.
Yeah,
They did
because I
it
mean,
so many times. It's just
yeah, I guess. I mean, Novella and Uriel, then what's Novella, Uriel, and Spirals? That was the second album.
spirals, yeah.
Yeah, it just they were very unique for what they did. I mean, Slim from Bury Your Dead's a guitarist. I forget the bassist went on to play with a bunch of different bands. So good band, but be that as it may, Howard joins Killswitch and they actually take off. Like they really truly take off. And I mean,
I
he
would
can
agree with
sing.
that. Yeah.
But I think that him joining that band allowed them to mess and experiment with continued usage of clean vocals.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you 100%. I don't get me wrong, Howard's an amazing singer. He's too operatic for me,
Mm,
but he completely put that band into the stratosphere, in my opinion.
yes.
I honestly think if Jesse stays, they kind of go in the same projection, if that's the right word.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Trajectory is where you're going. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think that still happens, but not in a sense where they're as big as they were. Maybe it took another album or something, but his voice, it kind of, I think it kind of like gave a voice to like his voice gave a voice to like, teenagers at the time, women, girls.
Hmm.
It gave a voice to like, and this is probably people are, oh, it gave a voice to the black crowd because then black people see that and they're like, oh dude, like
It's right. It's the
we're
idea of
part of that.
representation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Yeah,
I see
like
someone
dude,
that
it's
looks like
cool to
me.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I mean. Yeah, like oh shit, like if he can do it, I can do it. And I kind of think after that you see a more, you see
Diverse crowd.
exactly, yeah,
And there throughout extreme music's history, there have always been members of different bands that are either not typically white men,
yeah.
right? We'll just say that. But I mean, we talk about this all the time. You go to shows now, and the diversity at the shows is nothing like when we were coming up. It
Oh my
was
god, yeah, dude.
all fat white guys in Cannibal Corpse t-shirts, and now it's
Yeah.
just it's actually more fun to attend now because it's kind of wild. It's really kind of wild. So, but you're right.
You know what? You know what I think it did too. I think a lot of people of color like that, like they see that kind of shit and they go, "All right," because here's a comparison. If you get a white dude that's a rapper, they kind of get shit on, right? Like the fuck you.
Mhm.
This is a black man's game, blah blah blah. You see metalcore, this is a white man's game. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was
See,
an unspoken, not hard dividing line, but there was you were looked at like a fish out of water is probably
yeah,
the best way to
yeah.
put it. Yeah.
When you see a black dude get successful in the mainstream like that, it makes more black dudes being like, "Yo, I could do that now."
It opens up the idea that everybody can do this. Like again,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
truthfully, the metal and hardcore crowds are typically the most accepting. Like I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
the diversity I saw at FYA last year was something to behold.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
hey,
basically what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's room for everybody at the end. There's room for everybody at the end. So this album comes out. It really defines 21st century heavy music, right? Like this is the start of 21st century heavy music. That initial 2 decades, they put their stamp on it. At this point, I think it's not the death metal, it's not the death knell for new metal, but it's showing that hey, we're coming up in your rear view. We're not slowing down. It proves that technicality is still there's a market for it. It proves that commercially there is taste out there that is looking for something like this, and it proved to the labels, to the A&R folks, to the industry, I guess gatekeepers that hey, this is viable. This is viable. There's interest here, and you can lean into this and get something out of it. And you look at all the bands that come out of this scene. Their contemporaries: Chimera, Lamb of God, As I Lay Dying, Shadows Fall, and shit. Excuse me, Trivium. Right. Overseas, you've got Bullet for My Valentine. You've got Parkway Drive. You got all those. Excuse me, all those bands all propping up at the same time, where everybody's like, "Yeah, this sound kind of works, so we can fuck with this and make a go of it."
I totally just forgot that we did a big fourth metalcore. That's hilarious.
Yeah, we did. We did. And did we agree on all four of them? I
No,
don't
I
think
think
so.
it was 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I think three out of four. Then with the fourth one, we kind of
We
went
didn't
different
agree
ways.
on you just said the fucking band from Australia, Parkway Drive.
Yes.
You had I forget who you had, but we that's the only one we didn't agree on.
Yeah, you know what? You're right,
I
but I
had
forget who I
all
picked.
I don't know if you agree with all maybe it was 2 out of 4 because I had all that remains in there too.
Yeah, I think I actually think this is one where only two, if not one,
which
overlap.
is
Now
not
I
surprising at all.
no, well, we have different sonic palettes. So again, Adam D, Jesse Leach, Killswitch Engage. This is Adam D's arrival. This is the arrival of melody. This is the arrival of technical playing again. We brought back solos, right? A&R guys are now given the green light to go out and sign some of these bands that can actually sing, that bring some technical chops with, Matt Heafy from Trivia being a great example.
Yeah.
And the I think the lasting influence of this album is it basically puts a cherry on top of a movement. That dessert is now being served first. We're coming for you. And it accelerates into, I can't wait till we get to the year 2004 when we do that year review, because that's going to be the final death knell of nu metal. And this is metalcore being ascendant. So it's here to stay. So
I
yeah, I
think
mean,
that's I think it's a perfect year for that. Yeah.
this album, I love this album. I actually went back and listened to it in preparation for this episode. I thought it was great. I still think it's great. Everybody should give it a listen. The influence is so far and so wide that it's impossible to understate. Even Adam D's work as a producer, right? Like, I mean, and he's a nut. If you've ever seen them live, like he comes out from the bar and he's all sorts of crazy shit. You
Wearing
get
weird shit.
yeah, they're a band in the same vein of Black Dahlia Murder, in the sense that they're always having fun.
Yeah.
And when a band's having fun, it's a different vibe.
How do you say his last name? Is it Dukowitz?
It's Dukowitz or Dutkowitz, or I don't know. Do we ask Jamie? Pull that up on Google. Hold on, let me see. How do I pronounce this? Let's see. Will Google give me pronunciation?
I'm trying to think of what my favorite song on this record is. It's fucking hard, man.
No, that's the wrong word. What did Google just do to me? How to pronounce?
Oh yeah, isn't there a thing on Google that like you type it in and it'll pronounce it for you?
Yeah, but it's terrible. uh it's
Okay.
Dutkevich. All right, there we go. We nailed that. I mean, with my last name, it's kind of funny. So yeah, Tim, final thoughts before we cut this one out of here?
Out of 10, give it to me.
For metalcore, it's a 10. For everything else, it's an 8.
You know, you know what? I will agree with, for metalcore it's a 10, because to me, I honestly think this is the pinnacle, right? This is a landmark record. Whether you want
Mm.
to believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
this is fucking landmark right here.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all genres for me, I I think I would agree, dude. I think this is an 8.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than average. It's super solid. It's well done. It's almost unfair to compare it to stuff of different genres. But if you put all the metalcore bands in a blender and you said start ranking them in terms of influence and importance, but you're not doing bands, you're doing specific albums, this is up there. I think Art of Balance is right behind it. I would put this as the Palaces Burn, Art of Balance, Determination, Stings of Conscience. No, not Stings of Conscience. The one after the second Unearth album, the Oncoming Storm.
Oncoming Storm.
I would put the second All That Remains album on there. I would put
Impossibility of Reason.
Impossibility of Reason. Now I got to rethink it, because I would actually put that higher up.
Me as well. Yeah. I
There's
think Impossibility of Reason is another landmark release in that new wave stuff. That record is
yes,
flawless.
and they never lost their nu metal root in the sense of there was still some soundscapes and sampling type stuff.
Yeah.
He still had a little bit of that nu metal sensibility when it comes to song structures. But yeah, what an amazing album.
Well, if you had to pick a best song on this record, what do you, it's so hard. Like, I'm looking at the
Best
track
song?
listing. Like, I can look at the track listing on my phone right now, and I could, in my head, I know exactly what it sounds like because I've listened to this record a million
Yes.
times.
I
But like,
mean, best song or favorite song? So best song.
yeah, favorite, same thing.
So for me, it's a toss up between Number Days, the opener, because the opener is just a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Number Days, Last Serenade, and honestly, Temple from the Within. The chorus from that is teach me to inscribe these words upon my heart. Like, awesome.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
would agree with Temple from Within, but Self Revolution is a banger. Absolute banger.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's very hard, but yeah, this is if we had to go top like 100 records, this is in my top 10, honestly.
I don't know if it's in my top 10, but it's definitely my top 20. Absolutely in my top 20.
Maybe if I rethought about it, I think you would actually be right, top 20. It's
I mean,
definitely
it's hard, Tim. Like we just talked about, it's hard to do cross genre lists like that. Like think about the struggle we have every year with doing best of, right?
yeah.
I mean, how do you compare this to like so 10 albums for me, right? You have this, you have the Blue Album by Weezer, you have I Get Wet by Andrew WK, you have Satisfactions is Death and Desire, you have Jane Doe, you have What It Is to Burn, you have like As the Houses Burn. How do you compare all this stuff? Like
I know it's hard to beat out in all genres. It's hard to beat out like Antichrist Superstar or like Around the Throne.
Downward Spiral,
Down there, down with
right? Like how do you
Astro Creep 2000. I mean,
Psalm 69? How do you
it's impossible.
Yeah, it really, really, really is. All right. Everybody, hope you enjoyed this new, different way that we did a deep dive. Please let us know in the comments if you liked it or not. Find us, newbreed_podcast, Twitter and Instagram, newbreedpodcast@gmail.com. 267-297-4627. Leave us some audio. Leave us some comments. Let you know what you think. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What album would you suggest? What would you like us to do differently? Please let us know. We're trying some different things because honestly, you can't talk about new metal forever. There's only so many bands. So we're doing some yearly deep dives. We're going to do some deep dives into albums. We just released an episode today on Christian hardcore. So we're going to go into some of the weird sub corners of some of this extreme music and see what we can find. I don't know. Maybe we'll get into porno grind or something. That'll be kind of interesting.
And we're doing
So
Nintendo Core next.
yeah, it's going to be 2 hours on Horse the Band. All right, everybody. Every Wednesday, new episode. Every Friday, new reaction vid. Cheers.